Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tiny Matters with Dr. K. Now every week, parents come to me, lower their voices and ask, Doctor, I know this might sound silly, but... and then proceed to ask me a question they've been worrying about for months, sometimes even years. Now the funny thing is, the questions that most parents think are unusual are typically the same questions I get week in and week out. So today, we're addressing some of those questions, the ones that seem silly, the ones you've been too embarrassed to ask. Doctor, is this normal? So today, we're tackling some of the questions parents have been too afraid to ask. Hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll feel a lot less alone. Question 1. My child talks to themselves all the time. Is this normal? Parents often worry when they hear a child chatting away to themselves in the back seat of the car. But is this normal? The good news is, for most children, this is completely normal. Children use self-talk to process experiences, practice language, rehearse social interaction, and fuel imaginative play. Most children are essentially narrating their lives. Think of it as an internal monologue said out loud. So, when should we worry? If there are concerns about your child's development, social interaction, or communication skills, it's worth discussing with your healthcare provider. But talking to themselves, usually completely normal. Question number 2. My child still wants to sleep in my bed. Is this normal? This question often comes with a slightly guilty expression. The answer, yes, completely normal. Co-sleeping is common in many cultures around the world. The real question isn't whether it's normal. The real question is whether it's working. If everybody is sleeping well and the household is comfortable, then it's completely fine. However, if nobody's sleeping and the household is exhausted, a completely different kettle of fish. Question number 3. My child only eats 3 foods. Is this normal? If one of those foods is chicken nuggets, then you're not alone. Most toddlers go through phases of selective eating. They may reject vegetables, reject foods unless they're a certain color, and suddenly hate foods they loved just last week. This is often a normal developmental stage. What matters most is growth, overall health, and energy levels. We dive deeper into this in our picky eating episode, so tune in for that. Question number 4. My child touches their private parts. Is this normal? This one is often said in a whisper with some embarrassment. And the answer is yes, it is normal. Young children are naturally curious about their bodies. Just as they discover their ears, fingers, and toes, they discover other body parts too. The goal isn't punishment. The goal is to teach. Teach them about privacy, body awareness, and boundaries. So when should we be concerned? If there's pain, compulsive behavior, discomfort, or behavior that you think is inappropriate for the child's age. Question number 5. My child picks their nose and then eats it. Is this normal? I promised we'd tackle the awkward questions. The answer is yes, very normal, very unpleasant, very embarrassing, but completely normal. Question 6. My child refuses to poop at school. Is this normal? This is incredibly common. Many children avoid unfamiliar toilets, fear embarrassment, and dislike public bathrooms. Over time, this can contribute to constipation. This is why we take it seriously. Establishing familiar toilet routines that are consistent, even if it's just at home, goes a long way in preventing this problem. Question number 7. My child still throws tantrums. Is this normal? Often said in frustration and exasperation. The answer to this is age matters. A 2-year-old throwing tantrums, completely normal. However, if your teenager is throwing tantrums and throwing themselves on the floor in the supermarket, slightly more concerning. Tantrums are often a reflection of immature emotional regulation. Children experience big emotions before they have the tools to manage them. This is why it should get better with age. Question 8. My child obsesses over this one thing. Is it normal? Trains, dinosaurs, princesses, Minecraft, or even soccer. Children often develop intense emotional interests. These interests can actually be wonderful. They help children to learn, focus, develop expertise, and build confidence. Question number 9. My child still uses a dummy. Is this normal? Another common question. Depending on this child's age, it may very well be. Eventually, though, we start worrying about speech, dentition, and dependency. And that's exactly why I've dedicated an entire episode entitled Dummy Drama to this very topic. Question number 10. My child still wets the bed. Is this normal? Now, this question carries enormous amounts of shame. We now know that for many children, bedwetting is a developmental issue rather than a behavioral one. It is far more common than many families realize, and thankfully they outgrow it. I've also spoken about this one before, so check out that episode too. If today's episode has taught us one thing, it is this. Children are wonderfully strange, and many things that parents worry about are actually a normal part of their development. This doesn't mean we should ignore concerns, but it does mean that we do not need to treat every single concern as a serious problem. Sometimes all you need to hear are the reassuring words from your doctor. Yes, that is normal. If you do feel that there's something your child is doing that doesn't feel normal, trust your gut and feel free to ask a healthcare provider. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Tiny Matters with Dr. K. Until the next time, stay kind and stay curious.